I just realized that our primary editors are not with us today.
Dope.
It's probably why Colson didn't bring his laptop.
No, that's right. Yeah, slacker.
I think you could do it on an iPad or something.
They have internet in Maui.
Mm-hmm. We'll figure it out.
Yes, we will. I like on the Swoops Rumors page that there is no link to Amon Thompson or Asor.
I saw it.
They're overtime elite players.
I guess they're not part of the traditional.
They don't have a basketball reference page, basically.
Yeah.
That's what that means. They will soon, though, I suppose.
Yeah, for sure. I thought it was just overall like very interesting that there's starting to just be a change in where people are coming from. You know, you get this private academy, the G League Ignite, Metropolitans 92. I think it's cool.
The New Zealand Breakers. Partizan Belgrade. Barcelona.
Yeah.
Oh,
Barcelona.
How excited are you that Messi's going to play in the States? Are you moving to Miami?
I'm not moving to Miami, but I'm excited about that. It's super cool. You know, I'm excited that he's doing it. You know, this and he's advanced in his career. I get that, but I mean, he's still at the top of his game. You know, so I think it's great that he's doing it now. You know, before he's a sideshow. You know, he's still gonna play some good ball. So yeah, man, I'm excited about this.
He'll only walk for 80 minutes of the game instead of 85.
Yeah.
I kid.
The thing is, you know, if you
walk to the right place.
I mean, yeah. Like the game we played today, the opposing team only really had a couple good chances, but they buried the first one, and you know the game was 1-1 for probably 70 minutes or something, and you know they weren't doing much, but just got to be efficient.
Yeah, so just prepare to.
It'll be great.
It'll be perfect. Yeah, so just prepare to.
Y'all motherfuckers don't watch us play throughout the year, to tell you the truth. I'm gonna be real with you, and I don't care if I get fined.
That train is off the track.
I feel like you can't just like jump through Neptune and be okay.
Just prepare to.
What the show needs is more dogs and bears and chickens and stuff.
Yeah, so just prepare to be awash in unbelievable goodness.
Welcome, Pacers fans. You are listening to the Undebeatables, your semi-weekly Pacers podcast. Today is June 25th, 2023, and this is episode 656. Coming to you from Indianapolis, Indiana, I'm your host, Joey Gaffrida, the man behind the dials. This show, we're going to discuss the draft and probably get to you a stat of the week. Joining me is just one of our analysts, still coast to coast, like buttered toast. From the high school home of Jameson Brewer, Silver Spring, Maryland, it's the doctor, Jason Triplett.
What is up, Pacers fans? What is up, Undebeatable? Shout out to those absent. Colson is living the high life. in the Hawaiian Islands, and Harper is, living the high life, literally in a mountain somewhere. I don't know. Shout out to you guys. We miss you. I know you have lots of thoughts, and we will try to do our best to convey those things.
Yeah, absolutely. So, before we get into the show, we'd like to remind listeners they can support us, the longest-running Pacers podcast, by heading over to patreon.com/undebeatables, and you can support us for as little as $1 per month. So yeah, the draft happened this past was it Thursday?
Yep.
We got to watch the draft. It was fun. It was as it has been recently. There's trade shenanigans and all sorts of good stuff. But coming from the top, I think in a surprise to zero people, the San Antonio Spurs picked with the number 1 pick, Victor Wembanyama, and he's in San Antonio now. I mean, all these guys are basically either that night or the next day they hop on a flight to go hang out with their new teams. Victor Wembanyama. My favorite thing, which I've been showing to everybody, is he had gone to New York for the draft, of course, just to be there in the building, and he threw out the pitch at Yankee Stadium earlier in the day, and the thing I loved the most was just a picture of him with a baseball in his hand, and it looked like it looked almost like a golf ball. It's so small. His hands are so big, and it was hilarious.
That was hilarious. Him giving a high five or handshake to anyone during the draft was also hilarious.
Oh man. But so Spurs got their pick, of course, and the fans are ready. I think everybody wants to see what he's going to do in this league. I mean, he's been, the highlights he's been putting up this last year is, he's not Greek, but he may be a bigger freak in a good way.
For sure, yeah. It was interesting to me. They did an interview with him on ESPN. It was much later in the show, I think end of the first round maybe or something like that. And he was talking about how he has to do all these special types of things to train to keep his body from breaking down, which is just outstanding. I mean, first of all, that people have thought that far ahead for the biophysics of a 7'5" guy, building strength to be able to handle that frame at a elite athletic level. But then also the fact that most rookies don't think about, most NBA guys are eating cheeseburgers and drinking soda pops and candy until their third or fourth year in the league or something like that. Mm-hmm. And this guy's been monitoring everything that goes in and out of his body and every rep of an exercise he does since he was probably 15 or something like that. So he seems very that is just, suffice it to say, he seems very professional and well polished. Mm-hmm. He has the whole package. He is obviously talented and a physical marvel, but he's also mentally prepared for this. Not too dissimilar from the way LeBron James, when he came into the league, had been sort of on the radar for a long time, and basically had gotten used to being in the spotlight and knew how to handle himself and whatnot. So fingers crossed that he stays healthy and we get to see him have a long and competitive NBA career and eventually end up on your Indiana Pacers.
Mm-hmm. Sounds great to me. And I'm excited. He's got a good. Obviously, the Spurs are about the best organization you're going to have to bring somebody along like that. It's just these guys they've been there, done that. They're cultivating a culture there that it's all about the long term. So of course they're going to be on. They're going to help him in whatever way they can, and you've got Pop and Robinson and Timmy D and you know, and he's been a fan of what's his head, the Tony Parker.
Yeah,
you know, for many years. So, you know, they just got they have a good core group of, I don't know what their titles are, but you know, culture people that are just,
sure.
I don't know,
just
I don't know,
basically.
yeah, just I don't know. You pay just David Robinson to just hang around there or something. Sure, I would do it. But so I'm excited to see him out there. Yeah. This will be hopefully exactly. Hope he's got a long and healthy career ahead of him, because I don't think he's sort of on the upper end of what physically of what, I don't know. You got to treat your body differently when you're 7'5" or whatever.
You're an alien.
He's officially listed as. So.
Yep. So that was the top of the draft, and then let's just dive straight into what people want to hear when they tune into this show. Is what the heck did the Pacers do? And it was a busy lead up to the draft. I guess the Pacers were active. So coming into the draft, they had 5 picks in this draft, 3 in the first round and 2 in the second. But they did some wheeling and dealing. They sent 1 first round pick and 1 second round pick in this year's draft for a future first. Is that right? Oh man, I lost my thing. A future first from the Nuggets in 2024, and the 2023 40th pick, so a second round pick, and then they subsequently dealt that 40th pick and traded back with the Lakers to get some cash money. So then they ended up with only 3 picks in the draft, which they took. And then they did one more thing. The Pacers were slated to go 7th, and the Wizards were slated to go 8th, but the Pacers pulled off a deal and traded down a spot, gaining 2 future second-round picks from the Wizards, so that they could still take the guy that they wanted to take all along in Jarace Walker. So that was a pretty shrewd move by Pritchard there.
Yeah, I thought that, and I guess I did not mention that Colson was at the house, so we were able to watch together, and we were talking about this move, and to me, it didn't seem like the way I read this, the way we were talking about this was less as like trading down. It looked to me at least like it was more like, hey, we took the guy you wanted, and if you want him, you got to pay up.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, it was just a savage move by the Pacers organization to, for the Wizards. My guess is the Wizards were making too much noise about the guy they wanted, and the Pacers were the perfect spot to just fleece them. They got the guy they wanted, and just got 2 free second round draft picks for nothing. Yep.
That's exactly right. Yeah, I was watching the draft with Jill, and she was also very confused by this. She was like, why would Washington do that? They could just wait around and see if he's available, and if he's not, then they could try to trade for him afterwards or whatever. And I was like, well, yeah, probably if you try to trade for him afterwards, the price is higher, I would think. Yeah. And so you can pay a small fee to guarantee that you're going to get your guy, basically.
Yeah.
And so that's what they went for. So
the way I envisioned it was essentially, because one thing that I always find interesting is, so each team's got 5 minutes on the clock, that they have to take their pick, and many of them go close to the length of it. The Pacers was within like 15 seconds, and I took that as essentially they put their pick in. And they got on the horn to Washington and said, "Hey, we got your guy. What do we get? What do we get for it?" And that's the way I took that. Who knows what's going on behind those closed doors.
Oh, that's
But,
interesting. I wasn't paying close enough attention to catch the timing dynamics of that, but that's really interesting then.
Yeah. So who knows? Who knows? But that's the way I saw it. Like just from the way things actually, played out.
Sure.
Because it was so fast, and if they just wanted their guy, you would have just drafted him. But I feel like as the organization, there's always a little bit when you draft and trade, when there's like trades on that day, if the players don't know, there's maybe some like mixed feelings about that. We're like, oh well, this team wanted me and now they don't want me, and I feel like you could just tell our guys like, hey, we wanted you the whole time. We basically had these dudes in a bind, and we wanted to get something out.
Yeah, I mean, I think that by now players understand that like it's not like very rarely do they take it personally. I mean, I'm sure some guys do.
Yeah,
and they use that obviously for motivation going forward. But I think that like now it's not, they don't even keep up the farce on the draft. They tell them
right
straight up. They're like, well, you got drafted by these guys, but you got traded to this team or whatever. Like,
yeah, what
are you going to bring to that squad? And my read of all the players was just like, I don't care, man. My dream was the NBA. I don't care what team.
Yeah.
Like, this is, I'm super excited right now. This is a life-changing, generational changing sort of move for me. And it's really cool. But to get back to Jarace Walker, we talked about him a little bit last week. Colson was very excited about this guy out of Houston. He's a 6'8" Mack truck, defensive intensity kind of guy, but also in high school showed flashes of good playmaking ability, especially like reading the floor, and he's a smart basketball player. He's also very what is the word? Ebullient or something like that. He seems like he will fit in well culture wise with the Pacers. Like he's an upbeat kind of kid. So I'm very excited. The ding on him is he can't shoot the three, but that's something that you can develop. And then speaking of shooting the three, the Pacers with the 26th pick. Kind of a reach for them, took a kid named Ben Shepherd from Belmont University, who, by all accounts, is basically just a sharp shooter, three-pointer guy, and really good at a very cerebral offensive player, and also a very upbeat and enthusiastic guy. So I think he will fit well with the current culture, with Tyrese Halliburton sending him passes for wide open looks and knocking those down, hopefully. And with the last pick, the Pacers at 47 took Mojave King. Oh, I guess we had 4 picks in this draft. That's right. From the G League Ignite. And then with the 55th pick, the Pacers took Isaiah Wong, the guard from Miami, point guard. I know nothing about either of those guys, so I'm not going to comment. Do you have thoughts on Mojave? My only I think I put this in the Slack, but we clearly drafted Mojave King so that Trevelyan Queen could have a running mate in the as a two-way player.
Yeah, I think for the Pacers have a history of doing clever things with players' names. We had 3 TJs, and
sure,
we had brothers, and even back
the Davis twins back in the day.
Yeah, and Brad and Reggie Miller. I think that the team recognizes as part of their DNA for some reason, and I think it's going to be a good combination. So I the one, Isaiah Wong, is, I've heard of him just in Miami being, just being one of their top players there. And, the draft reports call him a shifty scoring guard and can craft off the dribble. So I think that's something that I mean, you can always use that in the league. Creators in general. I think that's just something you can keep out there. That I feel like at least the second round picks are gonna. You would think they're gonna be spending more of their time with the Mad Ants for now, but they're gonna have a new name. They're gonna have a new name at some point. But
yeah, because again, second round picks do not have a guaranteed contract. They get invited to camp and then they can be signed after that. Whereas first round picks, if you are picked in the first round, you have an NBA contract for at least 3 years, I think.
Yeah.
So that dividing line between first and second round is quite important, actually. Overall, I thought a good draft week for the Pacers, if you will. It should be noted that the draft pick, the first round draft pick that they picked up from the Nuggets, you might say, well, the Nuggets just won the championship. Why do we want their first round pick? But it's actually not their pick. We actually get the worst of the following, I think. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Either Houston's, Utah's, the Clippers, or Oklahoma City in 2024 draft. So, if none of those teams, I think, will be title contenders. So, at worst, this will be low 20s, potentially higher, depending on how things break. I think OKC is definitely going to be a playoff team next year. Potentially the Clippers, although rumors are swirling around our guy, Paul George, whether or not he's going to be on the move. Yeah. Any other notes from the draft? What did you think of the TV show itself of the draft?
I mean, it's pretty good. I was really impressed with, actually super impressed with the I guess like the sort of interview. So the interviews after each draft pick, the host was very well prepared. Which I thought was super. It was super impressive that they knew all the players, they knew their backgrounds, they knew their stories, and also something about each one of their family members or that was like with them. So it was pretty good, pretty entertaining, and there's good stories about there's some interesting stories that just in general we saw a pair of twins, the Thompson twins, go 4-5, which was pretty freaking sweet. Going to the Rockets and the Pistons. We saw, what else did we saw? Oh, Jet Howard, who's Juwan Howard's son, got drafted. That's not. I thought just you get to see Juwan like up there as just like all these other people who aren't in the spotlight all the time, and he's of course
right.
He knows what to do here. And it was Antonio Davis's son got drafted late first round, late second round.
Yeah.
He will be going to, where did he go?
I forget.
It's pretty late. Oh, he's going to Golden State.
And shout out to Colby Jones, who from Xavier University was hoping he would get taken in the first round, but slipped to the second round, got picked by the Sacramento Kings. So that's cool. We kind of cheer for the Kings because they have, our old team. So that's cool. Yeah, no, I agree with you. Actually, Jill had the same comment about and I'm blanking on her name, the woman that did Monica something, that did the interviews with the players, that she was very good and very tactful as well. Like, giving people, like you mentioned with trades or like, sort of dancing around that, or for people that were like, Jaime why can't I say his name? Jaquez. Got drafted, and she made allusions to his ethnicity, but without making it about his ethnicity. It was like, this is a thing that is becoming more prevalent in the NBA, but as a family, how do you feel about this or whatever? Kept it focused on the individual, which was good. And I also thought so they have the other talking heads sort of hosting it. They have, the main host and then 3 sort of basketball heads. So JJ Redick was there and Jay Billis, who's always there. And then Andrea Carter, who I was very impressed with. I felt like she knew everything about every player. And even as it kept going, I watched a fair amount into the second round, and she knew like all these guys and how they were going to fit in with, every team. And I was just very impressed with her analysis, as it were. So yeah, I thought, in the basketball nerd world, I think people were a little bit upset that there wasn't more sort of basketball talk, and it was more focused on sort of the personal sort of perspective or whatever. But like, I'm fine with it, And
I don't know. You can do that stuff. Like, that's just one. This is just like the intro to the whole league, for these people. Like,
exactly, yeah.
You can geek out on whatever stuff you want, like any other time.
Yeah, and nobody wants to hear somebody break down how this guy's gonna fare in the pick and roll, against a switching defense versus that.
I don't want to hear
who
that.
Cares? First of all, you don't know. You're projecting things that you won't be able to really predict. But it's. I thought it was good. I was entertained for sure. So so now the next step, the 2022-2023 season officially ends June 30th at 11:59 p.m. and then we go into that weird moratorium space for, I think it's 10 days or something like that, where you're not technically allowed to sign a deal, but everybody agrees to deals at 12:01 a.m. July 1st or whatever. So the free agency period will be coming, and there's a lot of action swirling around a lot of big names. I mentioned Paul George. Our good friend Damian Lillard is going to stay in the trade rumors, as Portland ended up taking Scoot Henderson, who basically plays the same position, and so something's going to happen with that team, I think, between now and the start of the season next year. And there's other guys that are rumored to be on the move. And I should mention my hometown Wizards continued their breakdown of their team. Last week we talked about Bradley Beal getting traded, and then they followed that up by dealing Kristaps Porzingis to the Celtics in a 3-way deal where, the Celtics get Porzingis, the Grizzlies get Marcus Smart, and the Wizards get Tyus Jones. And somehow the Celtics also get 2 first-round draft picks from the Grizzlies, and the Wizards, despite the fact that they're blowing it up and trying to collect draft assets, get no draft picks out of that. I don't understand why. I understand what they're doing, that they're blowing it up, but like, they're just getting no draft capital back, and I don't know.
Well, this is the same people
why.
that just got fleeced for no reason by your Indiana Pacers.
Right, exactly, yeah. So they gave up even more draft picks.
Right.
There. So like, it's insanity to me, but we'll see. They also pulled off a trade. So as part of that Bradley Beal deal that we talked about last week, Chris Paul was coming from Phoenix, and they dealt Chris Paul to the Warriors for Jordan Poole and other stuff. I forget what else, but so now Jordan Poole will be playing for the Washington Wizards.
Great.
And Chris Paul with Golden State.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Poole's going to be another one of these guys who's like the best players on the Wizards before is going to overperform, and their team is not going to go to the playoffs, and they're going to demand
for sure.
it. and they're going to demand a trade within a couple of years.
Well, we'll see. Hopefully, I mean, I'm excited for Poole to get out of that Golden State situation. I feel like things just weren't right after Draymond Green punched him in the face. He certainly wasn't the same ball player, and so hopefully he can get his mojo back and, get back to showing some of those flashes that we saw last season when he was doing
the previous
really
year.
incredible things, right, to earn a ridiculously large contract. So, hopefully he does that. He's certainly going to have the effervescent green light in Washington because there's nobody else really to shoot the ball. So, should be fun times.
Yeah.
Thoughts on Chris Paul going to the Warriors?
Do they keep him?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. I don't know. He seems broken, but
I mean, I think that it could be fantastic, like if he's going to be the backup point guard basically and run the second unit. It's going to be kind of like the reverse. Like usually your second unit comes in and plays up tempo and sort of creates chaos, and the Warriors will be the opposite. Their starting lineup is up tempo and chaotic, and then their second unit is going to be methodical and slow-paced.
I guess I didn't really think of him. Like some of these guys just don't want to come off the bench. I don't know. Do you want him and Curry on the floor at the same time?
I mean, I'm sure there will be times where they are on the floor at the same time, but I think that a large chunk of their time will be separate. I would imagine. I don't know, but I mean, there's still a lot of moving parts there, right? Because we don't know what's going to happen with Draymond Green.
Yeah.
And I mean, of any team that Chris Paul would go to and be willing to play second fiddle to another point guard, I think Steph Curry is probably the only guy in the league that he'd be like, all right, well, he does things very, very differently than I. So if the team is going to operate in this manner, like, that's not how I roll. I don't move faster than, a snail these days. So
yeah. And I think you're right. So Draymond's opted out of his contract, and I think with Golden State, there's definitely the greatness, and very obviously they know how to win in the playoffs. So they don't need. I guess when anybody you're bringing in, you don't need that from them, which is good for Chris Paul because you don't have that. Maybe he could learn some things from the team. Well, we'll see. We will see. And that's one thing I didn't. Is the summer league? I always felt like the summer league was the end of the previous season. Is it actually the beginning of the next season?
Yeah, it's the beginning of the next season. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, just because I guess effectively the gap in play is really, there's the finals end, then there's the draft, and then there's the summer league, and then there's
right,
a big
and then
gap.
there's a gap in play. Sure.
Yeah, but I guess it is what it is. If it's
because it's all the rookies, right, and they're
Yeah.
new teams, so by definition, it
I
has to
guess
be a
that's
new
true.
season.
Right. Yeah. I guess everybody's. Yeah, these are our new rosters. I guess so.
Yep.
I guess that makes sense. Okay.
Because does it start? I think it starts.
I was just looking. It's like kind of
at the end of free agency. Like there's still free agency going on, but it's
Oh, yeah. That I don't know. I don't really follow that stuff as much. But the summer league is this year. It's around July 4th.
This year early. Okay. Wow.
Yeah, it actually was looking like there's like
Usually it was a little later, but okay.
it starts July 3rd. There's like 3 locations. It's Vegas, Sacramento, and Salt Lake City.
Okay.
So there is the California Classic Summer League, which is the I don't know, it's there's 6 games but it's Miami, LA, LA Lakers, San Antonio, Charlotte, Golden State, Sacramento. I don't know. Yeah, but there's some games for 2 days in Sacramento. There's some games in Salt Lake, and then the main one is, and I don't know why there's 3, but the main one is in Vegas, and there's everybody plays there, so I think so. So cool.
Yep.
Any other basketball talk you need to get off your chest today?
I don't think so. You got any statistics that I should know about?
I do. Thank you for asking. I appreciate that. You know what? I'm glad you're here today, because if I was doing the show with Harper or Colson, they wouldn't ask about any stats.
No.
They just
work from their gut, you know?
Yeah. It ain't right, but what are you going to do? I do. So I've got a stat of the week, and this week it's about the Marquette Greenway Trail. And I learned about this over the weekend, but there is there's a plan that's in action right now, and it's up in so it's a 3-state Greenway Trail that they're currently building. But what they're doing is so it's going to run from Chicago to Michigan, and they're let's see. But it's going to basically run just into Michigan. It's called New Buffalo, just over the border into the Michigan, but into Michigan State. But they're building a greenway that you can walk or ride your bike all the way from Chicago, all the way into Michigan, all around the coast. So it's very near the lake much of the time, but other times it's a little bit inland. So I think it's cool. It's
like the National Dune or the dunes.
Yeah, so it goes like right next to the dunes, and they're basically going to be some sections of the Dune National Park that they're saying that the access to some of these places before was only by automobile, and so now you can actually ride your bike to some of these things, and you can get to it from Chicago. You can ride your bike the whole way there, which I think is awesome.
Wow, cool.
But what they're doing is when they do these, they're so complicated because there's so many like states and municipalities. They're all have to work together to get these things done, and the money's got to come from somewhere. So I think there's some national some national grants that are coming to help pay for the construction for some of these things, but I think they're doing some kind of neat stuff. In one of the articles I was reading, they have kind of some trails that are already there, and I don't know, some of them they sound like they were in maybe not the best shape, but they're basically saying that people thought they were boring, like the trails were boring, so they're picking more interesting routes now, which is cool. Mm-hmm. And I dig it.
Although,
so yeah, it's going to be.
I do see a large chunk of the proposed new trail runs right along I-80 or 90. Is that 80 or 90? I can't tell.
Maybe
80,
both. I think some places is 80, 90. I think. So
that's.
But yeah, it's over. It's over several counties, and a lot of this, they're, I think the local, whatever the local part is, they get to decide locally where the trail goes. So if you want to run it up against the highway, sure. But
awesome.
Yeah, but I'm glad.
Once you get past Gary, then it gets more interesting, I guess.
Yeah.
Go through some parks and all that good stuff. Cool.
But yeah, so I always love seeing these projects. They're still doing more in Indy here. They just opened up a section, I think, in Speedway that runs like basically out to Speedway to Hawville, so like down by the just west IUPUI by the river. so they're opening up new stuff here, and they're reclaiming some of the old train tracks and other places too. So
It's awesome.
I like having those trails out there. They're nice to ride on, because tell you what, riding bikes on the city streets here is not fun. So drivers aren't usually looking for people on bikes, and you follow all the rules, and people are generally looking at their phones while they're driving. So
Mostly, yep.
yeah, so being in a place where it's way harder to hit you is so it's more desirable.
Definitely makes you feel better.
So shout out to trails.
Shout out 60 miles.
60 miles,
That's
3
the stat.
states, over 3 counties. Oh yeah, 60 was a number. There it is. Put it in the books. All right, team. Well, we'll let you go with the short one here, and we'll be back with you soon. It's the off season. We're not sure people are traveling and whatnot, and if there's anything, if there's any emergencies, we'll be here. But Coulson will be sending voice panicked voice memos or whatever. But
Sure.
but yeah, so it's summertime. We we chill.
We like to sit back in and unwind.
We do. So I couldn't have said it better myself. But until next time, we will be available for you on social media. We will be on Twitter at Undebeatables, or on Facebook.com/TheUndebeatables. Our website is TheUndebeatables.com. There's also a contact form there. You can use that to send us a message. And you can send us an email. Shout out at TheUndebeatables.com. And you can pick a shirt up.
If you want to pick
at
me
the
up a
website.
t-shirt, that sounds great.
I was say, you can buy us a shirt, but you should buy a shirt for yourself. We've got ours at the website /store.
And for the architect, Donnie Walsh, who would have been very pleased with Kevin Pritchard's performance on draft night, and our once and always Hall of Fame coach, Bobby Slick Leonard. Wait, did I say... oh, yeah, Donnie Walsh, yeah. And our once and always Hall of Fame coach, Bobby Slick Leonard, turn out the lights. The party's over.
That was great.
Thanks.
I think you checked all the check boxes off.
I hit the randomize button, and it,
Yeah,
that's what came out.
No, it was great.
So you said there was an AI sermon that was delivered.
I did, yeah.
Can we have AI sing?
Oh, probably.
Turn out the lights. The party's over. And in the voice of this or that.
Yeah, probably. I bet we could find a way to do that.
In the voice of a gay gnome in a tin can.
Yeah. Yeah, I miss Coulson too. Yeah, we'll do that, and run it through the auto tuner, and I'll just slap on a beat, and we'll probably get a #1 record.
No doubt. No doubt.
Yeah. Let me tap into my Chat GPT and see if I can produce some bangers here.
Sounds great.